the Fuzzy Fixer back here on the mic again. And I want to give you guys an important DIY technical tip. If you're like me and you live on a larger property and you took care of this property from its raw state, a lot of times you're going to have previously logged properties, which also need to be clear cut again. Now, what are you going to do about all that wood fill? Well, you can burn it if your region allows you to. So what we chose to do instead is, like most people, we buried it. And unfortunately, we also buried it on top of previous fallen trees and debris from the logging industry in the previous clear cutting of the land. And what happens over time is when that wooden structure rots out from underneath, you get these big potholes opening up that just kind of surprise you. And they'll actually, oh shit, like that, twist your ankle, ruin your equipment. As you're walking through the tall grass here, right? Just minding your own business, mowing your lawn, and then all of a sudden, whoa, moly. Yeah, that, oh shit, look how deep that is. So that is because the wood structure underneath there has rotted away and the soil, especially after a heavy rain, has nothing to support it anymore. And what happens is you have these sinkhole effects opening up. And they'll open up in the worst possible situations, usually hidden by the grass, where you can't see it until you hit it. Now, this presents a big danger for you and your family, your pets, and your equipment. So what you got to do in this case is you need to fill it back in. Sounds simple. Well, you got to remember that the soil is now destabilized because now that wood that was underneath there is going to continue to rot, and as it does, soil is going to continue to fall away. So here is what we're going to be doing. I got myself some of the fill dirt from the Urban Homestead project, renovation project. I'm going to go ahead and pack that into all of the holes here. And what's important is I'm going to also pack in a lot of rock fill in there, and then top it up with topsoil and pack it in along with the sandy soil here. You see that kind of lightish color? And that's going to help fill it in and lock in those rocks, and that's going to help stabilize the soil. And what I did is I put in the rocks there first, so something like this. I'm going to grab a lot of these rocks here, bang, 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 boom, 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 toss them up in there, like so, especially these smaller rocks, bigger rocks, all kinds of different sizes. I'm going to grab some of this sandier soil here. I'm going to put it kind of in between there and get it down in there. And you want to tamponade this very well, and you want to do this in layers because, again, the whole purpose here is to stabilize that soil. So if you get the rocks in there, you can also use a rock bar to do this. But it doesn't, in this case, it doesn't have to be pounded too deep because it's a more shallow hole. You also want to provide a little bit of aeration there to allow the water, once it rains or whenever you hose it down, to trickle through there and run some of the sand and clay in between those rocks there and kind of lock them in like a concrete. So anyway, the Fuzzy Fixer here. Like, comment, subscribe, follow for more DIY and homesteading tips, and I'll see you all on the next adventure.